Hello, everybody. Welcome to Code Breakers Live. We're so glad you could join us today. I saw somebody from Ukraine is in our chat. So, big welcome to anybody watching from Ukraine because I'm going to talk about Ukraine today. And I've been posting. So, anybody who follows me on X, you would have already seen my posts. And so, you probably guessed what I'm going to talk about today. Um, Actually, I'm going to talk about a few things. So, where do we start? I want to start with my garden because this is the thing I've been enjoying the most, but I don't know if I should. So, what I've done is this past week, I've been really looking at Ukraine and when my dad went there and what he prophesied from Ukraine. And so that's why that's why I noticed the Ukraine. I was glad to see someone from Ukraine in the chat there. Um, and hi, everyone. We've got California, Pennsylvania. I know that song is so good. Um, Someone's going to Michigan tomorrow. I just was seeing everybody's places, and now the chat's going. Northeast Ohio. God bless from Canada, Oh, a heat wave. Listen, Florida beach mom. I know. It is so hot here. It is so humid. Yesterday, I actually ended up with a migraine. I had to put, I have this pink, incredible hydrangea plant. It's a baby, it's like this big. And I had it in a pot. And then I realized my pot didn't have drainage holes. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. I'd been watering the thing. It had been out in the rain and um so it was getting plenty of water, but everything started to look a little, and I was like, hang on a minute, what's wrong here? There's no drainage holes in the bottom of the pot. And the first thing I'm because now I'm learning about all these things about plants and what to put where, and how much sun they need, what zone I'm in. So I'm going to be successful in my endeavors in my garden. I have to say to everybody, this is not just, oh, I needed to work on my yard because I've been needing to work on that yard probably since we moved in. But I'm not a gardener. I'm not a person who does that kind of stuff. I don't know anything about I've never, I've grown, like I grew roses before, when we lived in California. My sister and I, but my sister was helping me. My sister is actually Jacqueline is the gardener, and she grows the most beautiful orchids. But I never was like into it. You can appreciate it, but that's not what's going on with me. What's going on with me in the gardening thing is a spiritual thing. God has done this. Just the way it was last year with the lions. You remember how I was just watching documentaries on lions and totally it was hot, just like it is now. And I was just hyper focused on the lions. And then of course, Operation Rising Lion. And it all was interwoven in the things that my dad was prophesying. And something that I hadn't really thought about at first, but it began to dawn on me as I've been working in my garden, is that that's where my dad used to go to pray. He used to go to his prayer garden. Now, he didn't cultivate that garden himself. My mother helped him. They had a gardener. He was very busy. There's no way he would have had time to do that kind of thing. His dad, my grandfather, he had a green thumb and he was really into gardening. And I just remember being a little kid and their yard was beautiful. It was just roses. He had rose bushes lining the pathway leading up to the house. Just he liked to do that. My dad's dad. But dad, he wasn't really into gardening, but he went to a garden to pray. And so that has not escaped me as I'm going through this. And God very clearly told me to cultivate my garden and to do it with my own hands. That's the difficult part. Because you could always, well, I did get the gardeners. We have a gardening service that comes every week and mows. And I asked them to pull out a few shrubs and gave them a little bit of money to do that. So somebody, you know what? I was going to bring it with me and I forgot to bring it. But somebody sent me their book. You sent me the book with the lion on the front. If you're watching right now, you sent the gift card. And I just want to thank you for the gift card because I want to show you what I got with it. I got plants. So thank you for that very much. I really appreciate it because it is expensive. Like I've been buying these plants that are baby plants. A lot of the reason is because I'm a little late in the season, so I'm getting things. The big gallon and 5 gallon things are no longer even available, and they're very pricey. And then and when God told me cultivate your garden, I went out to my front yard and there were weeds. I didn't like anything that was there. So I didn't take the structure away. Like I've got 2 holly trees and those are beautiful, and I've got a dogwood tree. I left that there. But especially the one section, it's the 2 sections where you walk into the house. I have pulled everything out. And it was like, "You know what? You don't wanna worry about weeds anymore? Rip everything." There is nothing growing except for the things I am now planting, and I'll show you pictures. But God told me to do this, and it's the same as the lion with me. It's the same as the Alexander Dugin is Putin's Rasputin. So it is a prophetic thing happening with me, but I am not. I don't know why yet. I think part of the reason, part of this, it's a journey in discovering why that is prophetic in nature, and I don't know what exactly it is. We're on this journey together. So I'm just going to keep sharing with you the things that I'm doing, but I have this new love for, it's not the gardening, it's the plants. And I was thinking about it, that is a very, you could go all the way back to Adam and Eve in the garden. And what did Eve eat? She ate the fruit from a tree, and the fruit from the trees, and how we get medicine and food, shelter, enjoyment from these things. And you kind of just take it for granted because they're everywhere. But when you're working with it, it's almost like as I've got this hydrangea bush and I'm really worried about it. I've got a 9 bark, really worried about it. Got my little rose vine, my uh, uh, creeping thyme, woolly creeping thyme, and all these little things. I'm just piecing it together the way I want it to be, and I'm sort of discovering all these new things along the way. So it's been pleasant for me, but it's also pulled my eyes away from obsessively watching the news all the time, which is because of Dad's prophecies and because of what I do. I'm still keeping up with the news. I haven't stopped watching it. I know what's going on, but I'm not feeding it to myself constantly because I've realized there is a great deception. There's a great deception that is happening. And it's happening to all American people and to the West, whether you are liberal or not. There is, it's we've seen the symptoms on the left, the anti-Semitism, the move toward communism. This is a long-term plan. They've been doing this a long time. The infiltration of the schools. Dad prophesied about that. And if you look like somewhere like Palestine, I mean, they grow up watching cartoons that encourage them to become terrorists and kill Jews. And if you think about, when Israel gave up land, gave up Gaza to the Palestinians in the mid 2000s, they've had, think how long that's been. That's 21 years ago. So a baby born that year is now a 21-year-old adult. And they know nothing else than that indoctrination. Okay, so we see it's what the result has been in areas of the world where this is, enough time has passed and we can look. But this has been going on in America for a very long time. Some of you might have seen when I posted the interview. I think did I show it on the show? I don't remember if I showed you guys. But he was former KGB, and he was talking about how this has been a long-term plan, the infiltration via the universities and the education system. We've watched that happen. And then the anti-Semitism, they don't want to say they're anti-Semitic because remember how they screamed and shouted about Trump? Like, oh, he's He's such an anti-Semite. He's Hitler. Yet they themselves are against the Jews. And now we've seen this happen on the right. And so, I actually have not communicated with anyone for weeks aside from my family. So I did have a couple of shows I did that I was committed to a few weeks back. But ever since then, I have talked to I haven't even called anyone because this is what God is telling me to just cultivate the garden and not communicate with anyone. And I don't know why. But I'm being obedient because it's very, very strong. It's an undeniable thing. There's no rational reasoning to it. And so these are indications to me that I should probably just go with it. And so I have. Now, amidst all of this, what we do see happening is deals with Iran that we knew wasn't going to come to anything. There is a concern about J.D. Vance and the crowd that is around him and influencing him that are very anti-Israel. Tucker Carlson being one of them. And this is not a knock on J.D. Vance. I'm actually not knocking anyone. What I'm doing is I'm realizing that there is a great deception on the left and on the right. And since, all through the Biden years, all through those years, I did the Reawaken America tour. I was around a lot of just enough, not much, but just enough to be around to see how things work. I'd never seen anything like that, been around that kind of thing too much in my life. And you guys have been on this journey with me, so and there were things that came up in particular about Ukraine that I wanted to talk about today. Because when the Ukraine war started, I was just out there just showing everybody the Ukraine stuff. And there was definitely a concern on the conservative side about people like Zelensky working with the globalists. Ukraine has the Azov battalion. They're just Nazis. It's sort of a dismissal of the Ukrainian people. And it concerned me always because I know what my dad prophesied about Putin. There were great warnings about Putin and what he would do. And so I wanted to show some of those prophecies to you guys today because I feel like we need to see something that people aren't seeing, or many are not seeing. The majority are not seeing, especially on the conservative side. As far as the left is concerned at this stage, I've really just given that to God because they are violent and aggressive, and you can't even have a conversation with them. So I really have had to just, for now, just, unless God gives me some kind of an opportunity, I'm not even worrying about that. I've really been worried about the conservative side because that union, the unity in that is what got Trump elected against all odds for a second non-consecutive term. Now, remember, my dad prophesied 2 terms. That's what I was running around shouting to everybody. But at the same time, I've been warning everybody about Putin. Do I know anything? No, of course not. I don't know anything. I am an observer the same way any of you are an observer. I see the news you see. I have got a few friends, but even there, that they seem to be deceived. And so what is it that we need to be seeing about this situation in Ukraine? Because now it's come out that Dugin, and we've covered this so much, Dugin is behind the current split in MAGA. It's Dugin and others, but Dugin is really leading that. And whatever happened in Alaska when Trump and Putin met at the beginning of Trump's presidency, they met in Alaska. Right after that, whatever happened there, and I don't know what happened, but whatever happened there, Dugin immediately flipped on Trump. And that's when the anti-Israel stuff started to come out. And this is where my red flags are going up, because I'm saying, Dad prophesied a Fourth Reich. What is this faction of the Conservative Party been called? The woke, Reich. Okay, that's very important to remember. And, we go back to those prophecies from Paris and the Netherlands, where Dad was telling, especially in France, he was saying, you're going to have a short war. Not a short war. Yeah, a short war. You're going to have a war. And the result will be an overcoming of an agreement between Russia and Iran. So I have this of Dad, Russia and Iran. And I found some interesting stuff when I started to look. So I want to show you guys. All right, Lou, can we go over to my X page? Okay, this plant has nothing to do with Ukraine or with Putin. Maybe. Certainly not this plant, but I know what I know, and I can't explain it, but I know that God has told me to work on that. And it's not for of course, it's going to ultimately be to my benefit, because my yard will look nice, and I will learn stuff. But there's more to it. Just like when I told you, when I was pulling the weeds out and I found the root ball and I pulled it up, and it was connected to other weeds on other sides of the bed. But I didn't think of that until it happened. Like, I'm looking and I'm like, oh, that's a weed over there and that's a weed over there. But they were all connected underneath. And I think this is a key point that we need to remember. We need to remember that, because it appears that there are connections underneath that we couldn't see. But the minute you start to pull things out, like what Trump is doing, is weeding out all the mess. This is what the Trump administration is doing, the fraud, the immigration, all of these things. And in the process of doing that, if we were to scale out my little situation into a sort of broader existential view, you've got, let's say the Trump is weeding, right? And he knows this is an issue. He pulls it up and sees the connections. So I need to tell people that also, so that I don't worry too much. Like, everybody was really worried the last couple of weeks about the deal with Iran. Trump's making a deal with Iran. Well, how's it any better than Obama? Oh, the Strait of Hormuz is open. Well, it was open before. Those kind of things. And that's normal. We should be asking those questions. There's nothing wrong with questioning Trump. And Trump is not going to get everything perfectly right. Okay? My dad prophesied very specific things that Trump would do. Things like build the walls of protection around the nation, economy growing rapidly. And I don't know if you guys saw the stuff about Q this week, where the White House posted Q as quantum. Now that is plausible to me, because what they were saying when they said Q is quantum, they're saying Q, the whole Q thing, was actually a quantum computer prophesying. Isn't that strange? I don't think that's a good thing, but either way, America has to be in control of the quantum computing. And look, if you need details, I can't give them to you, because I don't know. But we cannot allow that technology to be controlled by China or Russia, or we're done. They can empty it. All the doors are open. There's no more closed doors. I think that's a way. It's very difficult for me to understand, because I'm not a very technical person, but all the doors are open with quantum. There's no more locking your bank account behind something. It can be opened up. So this level of computing, I think, Dad, what did he call it? Lou, what did he call it? It was ludicrous speed. Ludicrous speed. So it was very interesting to me today when the White House came out with that, and they said Q is quantum. And you still see the Q post, and it's like, well, who is Q? Is Q a group? Is Q a guy? Then, of course, things were hijacked in that movement, and there were all sorts of crazy things being said and done that had nothing to do with the actual Q. So that got so complicated for me that I just backed off of it because I felt like, you know what? I don't entirely trust this. I don't know what's going on. Predictive computing. Thank you. Someone just told me that in the chat. So that, to me, kind of sounds plausible and like maybe that could be possible. That Q is a quantum computing doing what is it called again? I don't even know the names of these things. Must have found Q and cut the power cord. Predictive computing. Thank you. And so in this age of how much do we have with the computer and computing? You know, you got the AI stuff. And AI is incredible. Like, try using an AI music app. My husband has been using these. And I just realized I didn't mute my phone. But you can actually get an app that will write music for you, and it's good. It's good music. It's really good. So what do we do with that? And what happens to us? You know, and this is the question of our generation, obviously. And I can't even begin to address that. But this is making sense to me. So that's an aside from the Ukraine stuff, maybe. But excuse me, I'm a little bit. It's the weather, allergies. I'm just looking at your comments before I move on. After years of neglect, I am also building gardens with flowers and fruit trees everywhere, all over my 1.5 acre yard. I did stop watching the news. Okay, so I'm not alone. That's really good to know. And wow, an acre and a half. You've got space to do some stuff. That's cool. I don't have much space. In the back, my backyard, maybe I do a little bit. There's some weird things. I live in Tennessee. We've got like a wet patch in our yard, and I think it's an underwater spring because it's not coming from any plumbing or pipes or anything. And so there's weird stuff. And I've got this little dog. I'm worried about Gumbo, my French bulldog. I'm worrying about him. Like, I want to plant a pumpkin patch back there, but I'm worried he's going to go and pee on my pumpkin patch. So I don't know, but that's very cool. So if you look next to me here at this plant, it's called a proudberry pink coral berry. And the thing about it is it's just a little shrub, and you see the pink berries. It starts with flowers. They turn to pink berries. It sheds its leaves in the fall, and then all that remains are those pink berries. And the colder it gets, it stays all through winter. The colder it gets, the pinker the berries get. And so,
like our noses.
yes. So to the couple that sent me the gift card, thank you so much, because I bought 2 of those. They're going to be arriving this week. I'll show you guys once I put it in the ground.
I was just thinking quickly, didn't your dad hold up his cell phone at one of the broadcasts and he was saying this will bring down?
He was talking about Israel and Hezbollah when they did the exploding.
But there was something about he said the technology on the phone, and we're seeing how technology is changing so quickly on our phones, on our iPads, and everything like that. And he was seeing how this will bring down certain things, and so we see.
So there's good and just like with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, think about fire. Okay, fire can be used for good things and for bad things. It was a very powerful thing for human beings to have fire.
It's good for farming. It's like it brings back life to the.
Well, also our using of fire, we can warm our house with it. We can cook food with it. We can make light with it. So there was good and, of course, bad, because you can burn down someone's house. You can injure whatever. It can be used for good or evil.
And we can reach thousands of people around the world in split seconds.
We have this technology. There's the evil potential and the good potential. But I think the stakes are higher. Yeah. in this situation because this is something that is affecting the entire globe. So I can see why Dad was picking up on
And
those
we also
things.
got to be more responsible
Yeah.
ourselves and not fall down these rabbit holes.
Yes.
Because they fool us so easily with these fake videos and these fake things. And you gotta be vigilant, because I've noticed, and I've said this before, is how they repeat videos over and over and saying, "Oh, this has happened in the Senate, this has happened in the House," but it's the same. That all they do
For
is
clicks.
cut off where what they're voting for, and they just show the votes, and they're saying, "Oh, it's been passed," or "It's been this has happened," or but it's the exact same video.
Yes.
And I've seen it constant, and I'm like, no, I'm done.
And you know what? This is what we're dealing with on a very complex and much higher and broader level when it comes to geopolitical things.
Yes.
So, Ukraine. Where did my dad go?
Yes, boots on the ground to Ukraine.
Boots on the ground.
And the boots
Did
that
he
had,
didn't go to Russia.
No.
He went to Ukraine. God, and this is not anything, if you're Russian, this is nothing against Russian people. This is a bigger, it's a government problem. It's a leadership problem. I actually love Russian people, and I love Russian sage. I don't know if that's actually from Russia or not. It's a beautiful plant. But I think that, if we're looking at Ukraine and we're looking at the things Dad prophesied, actually, I'm going to start with the video.
But even the boots that he got were from Ukraine.
They
couldn't find it.
That's how he
anywhere else,
ended
and
up
that's how he ended up
there.
there.
He ended up, God directed him to Ukraine before Maidan happened.
Mhm.
This is a long time, not that long, months before. Maidan happened in 2014. He wanted to get those boots, and the only place that they made
Ukraine.
them was in Ukraine. And they were having to communicate with Ukrainians with a language barrier and everything. And then God started to show him things about Ukraine.
And that's when he started the whole boots on the ground with the boots, the symbol of the boots.
So these things that happen like that, they are prophetic things. So I'm going to go here. Let's see where we're going to go. Okay, we got the dream about Putin. We'll play that in a minute. Okay, so I started going through the Ukraine footage, and we've shared it with you guys. If you go back a while on Prophetic Rewind, on our YouTube channel, our website, our app, Rumble, wherever you're watching, wherever the videos are, go back. Go back 2022-ish, 2023. You'll see what I was doing. Because even then, even though I didn't know anything, I did know what my dad had done in Ukraine and what a big deal that was. Because at the time, I didn't even know there was a Ukraine, honestly. And Dad's going to Ukraine. I'm like, Ukraine? Where's that? Why is he going there? And of course, then everything happened. And then, of course, we learned a lot more about it. But so I started going through the footage, because there's a bunch of footage that we have that Dad, now this particular video I'm going to show you, this is pastors and people in ministry, evangelicals in Ukraine. Now, you're going to be told that they are not there, that there are no Protestants in Ukraine, and that they don't allow it. And none of that's true. So there's another lie you've been fed. I had somebody comment the other day and say, I believe Kim Clement was a true prophet or whatever, but he got this part wrong about Putin, because Putin's the only thing helping us. And I'm like, okay, I didn't answer, because number one, I've just given up on trying to answer someone in a comments thread on a social media site. You do not have, it isn't the place to argue, because you can't see someone, you can't hear the tone of voice. It gets so confusing and frustrating. And then the bots come in and the trolls come in, and it's just pointless. So I didn't say anything. I didn't answer. But I did go through all this stuff about Ukraine. And so let's have a look at this. This is Pastor Greg Wark, who worked with my dad, still with us for many years. My mom and dad have known them for decades. And Dad sent Pastor Greg Wark back to Ukraine. So this is, Dad had gone to Ukraine, and then after that he sent a couple of teams a few times. And so we have a bunch of footage of that. And I was quite compelled by this little interview. So let's just watch some of it.
All of the Bolsheviks.
We're here in Ukraine, in Kiev, and one of the great experiences that we get to have while we're here is we get to meet warriors. I don't think there's any other way for us to talk about them. People that are willing to step into trouble, step into difficulty, step into a stressful environment and say, God, use me. And I'm standing here with a couple right now, Kim and Xenia, and they have been here for 20 years, guys.
I've been here for 20.
Given a mission 20 years.
Kim.
Yeah, I'm Ukrainian. I was born here.
And you know, the thing about it is that, you know, you can tell when a couple are at peace with their role, and I must admit that that's exactly what I felt when I met both Kim and Xenia, is this whole idea that they've accepted that this is where God's placed them and that they're going to bear fruit here. And so there's a number of things we want to try to accomplish in this shoot. First, I wanted to, you know, I think we're Xenia, we're in kind of a historic place here, and I brought it up, and you began to give me a history lesson that I had to have on camera, and I think our viewers really are going to want to hear a little bit about it. So, you know, this environment goes back to the Bolshevik Revolution, and so I really would like you to kind of give us a little bit of a history lesson on that so that the people can connect with that.
Okay. And first, hello for everybody from Ukraine and for this place, like, and how it's talked about this one. It's place, very unique place, because 2 years ago, and at this place, that was a huge, like, protested against what the last president did against Ukraine, and like we protested here, and many people were killed here. And like what you said already, that's a historical moment, because in 1917, when Bolshevik Revolution started, and it was here too in Ukraine in this park, and not far from here, it's like an Arsenal factory, where was like huge protesting of people, and they were against the Tsar about like that was actually Bolshevik protesting against Tsar, and like that monument represent like of freedom, because people, they were under communist propaganda, and they thought that Bolshevism can give people a freedom. But we see right now that's not true, because Stalin, Lenin, they killed a lot of people who doesn't want to follow Bolsheviks theory. You know, that's very interesting, because from 1917, when it started that revolution, we almost 100 years staying against that kind of pressure, Bolsheviks pressure, even what Putin doing right now. You know, he wants to restore the communist time. He wants to restore Bolshevik influence, and that's why we have a problem right now in Ukraine. We have a war with Russia, because Putin, he wants to restore Bolshevik influence on Ukraine, and Ukrainian, we don't want it. We want to stay like free from that kind of Bolshevik infection.
You know, just I want you to add to this, but it's, you see, one of the things we need to realize about Ukraine is that Ukraine is kind of the breadbasket, or has been the breadbasket and the food source for the entire old Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And so when you are a typical Ukrainian, you remember, at least from your parents' stories, what it's like to have been pillaged, lost everything. And a little of that happened here when, well, as a matter of fact, they took all of the weapons that could protect the Ukrainian people away from them, and they took all of their food, and therefore there was a great hunger, or there was a great starvation here.
Yes, in 1930s, that's what Stalin tried to do, made people be starving in the villages. Why he did this? The reason, because like people in the village, they have their property, their land, you know, and they far from that Bolsheviks, communism, like ideas, you know, they have their property, they own. And what Stalin did, he made people starving. And he tried to kill old people in the village, because that opposition to Bolshevism, that was from countries, for people from the villages, because they have their properties. That's what communists did, killed all our like special private, because in communism you can have your private. because it's privacy. Yes, that's what Putin wants to do again, and we don't want it to do that. And I remember in the January in 2013, when Kim prophesied about Ukraine, that communism never will take Ukraine back again, never. And at that moment we had a prayer, and I remember like when we received this prophecy word, I showed in a prayer our guys in our congregation, look at the guys, we have prophetic word, like, because we stand under pressure. Nobody knows when it will be finished, how it will be finished, because Russia is so powerful, you know. They have an army, like the third is a very powerful army in the world, like, and we didn't have an army in that moment. Absolutely no army, absolutely nothing. It's just only people, volunteers moving, who gotta collect the money and start to buy everything for our army, like, and that's kind of situation in Ukraine was miserable. Nobody understand what we'll do in the future with Ukraine. But that word from Kim, that was exactly for us, like, that's Ukraine never take us, or not Ukraine, the communism never take us back, Russia never take us back, and Putin, he will be, как Smiron?
He will be humbled.
Humbled, yeah. That I remember this word that God said, like, Putin will be humbled, and we receive this word, and we stand and we believe for this. In this moment, we stay and we believe for this prophecy, like Ukraine will be free. Amen. Free.
You know, what strikes me as we dialogue here is the scripture comes to me, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge.
That so you guys could see not only Christians in Ukraine, but Christians who are, you know, hearing prophecy and believe in it. They're evangelicals. And, you know, they're over there and they're God's people over there. And not to say there aren't in Russia, but this is much bigger than that kind of thing, because these world leaders that Dad was prophesying about, like Putin and Kim Jong-un, little Kim, and, you know, the Iranian regime, he was very specific about that, and their connection to China. He was very, very specific. So much so that he was sending people back to Ukraine over and over again to speak to the people. So very, very interesting. Now I'm just going to make sure. Okay, so I'm going to play this for you again, because I think this prophecy, I really wanted to play this again today. Play it again. Because you can listen to it, and 6 months later, events will happen, and then you'll begin to understand more. And why did God show Dad that? And where does that fit in? And a lot of these things that I show you guys is because we haven't found that answer yet. You notice we don't play Trump 2 terms prophecy because it's done, it's fulfilled. But some of these prophecies are, some of it's happened, and we're trying to figure out our way. Okay, why did God show him that? Why is he showing us these things? There's a purpose to it, and he wants us to find it. You know, it's very important, our involvement in these things. God requires that of us. He doesn't just do, he will do for us when we can't do for ourselves. But the rest of it, we've got to do with him. So let's listen to this again.
The other thing the Lord said to me today, very clearly, he said, Kim, tell my people to keep their eye on Russia, because there's a huge deception that is taking place and is yet to unveil, and where people will even embrace it. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I saw this hand coming out of Russia, and this hand being extended out to the Christian people and to the Jews as if it were a friend. It is not a friend. Russia is not a friend to the Jews and not a friend to the Christians. I'm not speaking about the people of Russia. I'm talking about the administration and the leaders. I saw deception coming out of Russia. I saw a hand coming out as if to shake. And then as the hand was shaken by purple robes and garments of religion, I saw the hand raised up and then smashing them on the neck. The other thing the Lord said to me today very clearly.
Okay, so
He
it's
said,
very
Kim,
clear.
tell my
He said it very clearly to my dad. Tell the people to keep their eyes on Russia. Again, we're not talking about regular Russian people. I love Russian people. They're really cool. I mean, they're very different. I've seen how many videos of Russians driving around with bears in their car. I've seen a few. They're really cool. Like I really like Russian people, Russian culture, the babushkas. This is not about that. And I don't want anyone to feel like, that we don't care about the lives lost in Russia or that God doesn't, because he does. But all of those lives being lost are as a result of Putin's decision making and those around him, whoever's influencing him, oligarchs, however it works, all that stuff. So that is the problem that God showed my dad. So he showed Dad Israel, and of course there was someone in the comments over there had to say, well, the Bolsheviks were Jews. It was all the Jews, and all of it all happened because of the Jews, and nobody did anything wrong except the Jews. And anything bad that ever happens is the Jews. I'm sick and tired I am of that, because it's a bold-faced lie, and you are being lied to if you believe that. Stop blaming the Jews for everything, and no, I won't hate them with you, and no, I won't blame them with you. That is the stand I am taking. It's ridiculous. That is a symptom of the propaganda and the lies that have deceived the West. And yes, Dugin and Putin, they are correct in their diagnosis of the West. But they are not going to fix anything. They're going to take full advantage of that weakness and use it to their advantage. And they do it dressed in robes of religion. It's not even the real Orthodox. It's not even the real Eastern Orthodox Russian church. It's the state church. And they tickle your ears with religious stuff. Well, we're not going to allow the transgenderism. We are not going to allow all those evil things. You know what? I don't want to hear any more. Because that's the biggest load of hypocritical nonsense. And it has caused many to be infected in the mind and in the soul, that you would point to the Jews again. Yes, this is a Fourth Reich, exactly as my dad prophesied, exactly as he warned. And anyone hearing my voice today, you better take that warning. Because if you fall into the deception and you believe the lies, and if enough do, we will be swallowed up and there will be no more America. Then there's nowhere for anyone to go to escape anymore. It's over. Okay? So try to overcome. I'm not angry with you either, whoever person might be. I'm angry at the spirit that is lying to you, deceiving you. And the symptom of this great deception, number one, is the anti-Semitism that turns and says, oh, everything was just the fault of the Jews. Because there happened to be Jews there. So if there's one Jew involved, then all the Jews did it. Every time. It is weird, and I am getting so tired of it. And I don't know how to deal with it. And I really have to turn to God for that. Because to have an argument over and over and over again that is fruitless, that just ends up with people upset, and you know what? I am not any smarter than you. There's nothing, I don't have any access to information more than you do. You are not stupid. You have been deceived by the most exquisite propaganda machine that has ever operated on the face of this earth. Because they have, this is the evil side of that technology, because they now have social media and artificial intelligence. And they're not aiming it at you directly. They got 5 people. They were able to deceive 5 people who had 5 million or more followers, and the job was done. That easy. It was a lot harder the last time around, World War II, the propaganda posters in the newspaper, but it worked. Man, they lined those Jews up and cooked them in ovens. And don't tell me it didn't happen, because the Holocaust deniers, it comes with an argument I am not going to have anymore. But I am going to show you these prophecies. And you can have the attitude that the guy the other day that commented had. Maybe it was a woman, I don't actually know. Oh, Kim was right about all that stuff. 9/11, he was right about 9/11. He was right about Hurricane Katrina. He was right about every president. Every president since Reagan, my dad accurately prophesied. He was right about all that. The earthquake in Japan, Trump becoming president and serving 2 terms. He was right about all that stuff. But Putin, no. We like Putin. So he must have been wrong about that. No possible way I could be deceived. So I'm showing you these things today, and I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing it. Because all I have are these prophecies. I don't have any inside information. I am not speaking to anyone right now. The only speaking I'm doing is when I come here and speak to you guys, and then to my family. I'm not speaking to anyone. So, look, I'm struggling with it because I'm struggling with all of this because I feel convicted. Because I believed a lot of that stuff. And people are dying in this war between Ukraine and Russia. Putin's operation. How many Russians have died? And we don't get to hear from them. See what happens. Look what happened to Navalny. Is that his name? I can never remember. Is it Navalny? I think it is. Look what happened to him. So we don't even know. The only reason we know anything about the Iranian people is because they exploded last year. They're screaming, begging for help. They ran out into the streets to try to take their country back and were slaughtered, 40,000 or more. This year that happened. And I feel convicted because these people are suffering and dying. And I don't care what country they're from. I don't care if they're Christians or not. And then we're conditioned to accept it because, Ukraine has the Azov battalion. So it's fine that all the Ukrainians suffer and die like that until there's hardly any Ukrainians left. Because that's Putin's goal. He's going to take it by just getting rid of all the Ukrainians. Because whatever history he's going to sit there and waffle on about, trying to justify his behavior. I'll show you something. Here's what my dad prophesied. You don't have to believe my dad. You can turn this off right now and go believe whatever you want. But here's a dream. And this actually isn't so connected, but I really wanted you guys to hear this because I did do a video last year on the Putin prophecies. And this was the one I couldn't find to put in that video. And so check this out. And I've played this for you before at some point. I know I've played this for you guys. For some reason, I couldn't find it to put it in that video at the time. I don't know what was going on with our videos and server and stuff. But okay, let's have a look at this one.
I had a dream early hours this morning. I was in a big house, many steps, and Vladimir Putin was in the house, and he had anger like I haven't seen, and he was wanting to murder. That's what I felt. I didn't hear him say it, but he had murder all over his heart, murder all over his eyes, and extreme anger. And I don't believe this was a normal dream. It was a spiritual dream given to me by God. And Putin came, he tried to kill somebody. I don't know who it was. He tried to murder somebody or get someone murdered. And then he came and sat on a chair, and suddenly there was a white cloth placed over his face. And it wasn't clean. It wasn't a pure white cloth. It wasn't clean. It was dirty. But you could still see it was white. And it remained over his face. I saw him underneath the cloth, and he had this very sarcastic smirk on his face, as if he'd accomplished something. And so the Spirit of the Lord began to speak to me, as I had been told earlier this month that there would be assassinations. And I'm not saying that he specifically is planning an assassination, but it could be. In the dream, I felt tremendous fear and rage at the same time, coming from him. And in my dream, in my physical body, I started suffocating, battling to breathe, and forced myself to wake up, pushed myself out of bed, and was dizzy. And I know this was not a physical thing because I've experienced it before. And then I was taken to Cuba, and I saw the face of John F. Kennedy, and I sensed that there was a connection. People are rejoicing because of the apparent freedom and cleanup of the relationship with Cuba, but not me. In my spirit, I was concerned. And so I forced myself to stay awake. However, I did fall back to sleep because I was tired. It was early. And during that time, I dreamed again, almost the exact same dream. And so I sensed that as I'm in my garden now, that I should pray, and I have prayed for Putin, I've prayed for Obama, and I've prayed for this country. And in the second part of my dream, I was taken to a very desolate place, darkness, not occupied, where there was something going on, something to do with weapons. And I had not had clarity on where this place is, and I am praying today that he would show me what this place is, so we can expose it and speak about it. So that is my revelation, and I am praying for God's protection.
Okay, so that's heavy. Sorry about that, but I guess it's heavy today. I found it interesting about the assassination because of the connection between Russia and Iran right now. And we know the Iranian involvement in trying to assassinate Trump. And because they're together, I wonder if there's something there to do with that. I don't know. And I'm not saying that is what he was saying, but that stood out to me when I was looking at that. And then also the dark and desolate place that he saw and the connection to weapons. Now, this is very important because if you look at the world right now, okay, what's the thing in Iran? The nuclear weapons. What does Trump want to stop? They can never have a nuclear weapon. Whatever else happens, that's Trump's bottom line. And then look at Cuba. Things are bad in Cuba right now. Really bad. And the John F. Kennedy part. And I don't have it figured out. I wanted to share it with you so we can figure this out. That it helps us along the way as we start to see these things happening. I see how many people, by the way, are commenting about how many Russians have been lost in this war. And one thing that's been happening this past week or so, a little longer, is, you know, the Ukrainians have now been able to hit inside of Russia, St. Petersburg and Moscow. And then, of course, the Russians, they blew up their own. I don't know if you saw the bomb that exploded. They were trying to launch it, I guess, and they blew the whole thing up. That's God, by the way. I'm pretty sure that's God. But maybe God is preparing me, Trump country. I don't know. I just, you know what I, you hear people say this, but it's really true, is obedience is even more important than sacrifice, because you could make a sacrifice out of obedience and then you just wasted your time. So that obedience is really important. And in order to be obedient, you have to know his voice. You know who's talking to you. You have to recognize him. And that takes prayer and communicating with God. And then sometimes God can just bang you over the head when you're not even praying or looking for it and say, Alexander Dugin is Putin's Rasputin, which is what happened to me. Someone else said something I just don't want to forget. Q is quantum, A is AI, E is energy. Remember, Dad prophesied the big E. Fire points to E. And then she said the Pacific Palisades fire. I think you're in YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. That's interesting too. I also saw you guys saying about the fig tree and the olive tree. I would love to grow those. We'll get there. I'm doing little things at a time. I am going to build my garden. It's going to take longer than just this summer. I'll be doing this again next year as well. And hopefully I can grow some pumpkins. I really want to do that. A pumpkin patch and butternut squash. I should be making my own food. There's no reason why I shouldn't. Sasha, I do need to do a wellness check on Sasha because it's been a while. We did have Sasha on our show when the Ukraine war first started, when Putin first in 2022. And we had Sasha coming on with us. He is a pastor. He is a Protestant, evangelical, Christian pastor. He's not Catholic. He's not Eastern Orthodox. He's not an atheist. He's an evangelical Christian. And I just want to point that out to anybody who tries to tell you that they don't have those in Ukraine. They do. And I would be suspect of maybe not the person telling you, but who told them. Because I think that's how it's working. Like you were lied to. I was lied to, but not by the person who told you the stuff. They were also lied to. And whoever told them was also lied to. And so that's trickled down, and it's been very, very calculated, and they're very good at what they're doing because it's working. This is what is dividing the conservative base. They are so worried about the Jews that it's like, whatever with Iran. Hello. No, we don't want war. I never wanted war. I do not want, I am not a pro-war person at all. I lived through the Afghanistan. I mean, I was alive for that. Afghanistan, Iraq, 9/11. I've spoken to many, many, many soldiers who have come back, and the traumas and the stories and the things that they have gone through. I don't want that to happen. The idea of boots on the ground in Iran is a complete no. That place is huge, mountainous. That's not the way. And look, that is not what my dad saw happening. My dad said they would be taken down from within, that God would spite the devil. And he would enter the hearts of the young people, and they would be in the universities and the colleges and the mosques, which we've seen coming down. So they will implode from within, ultimately. That is what Dad prophesied. That is what we actually see happening. And so that, to me, very important. But that dream, I was looking and looking for it when I was making the Putin video last year, and I could not find it. Nobody could find it for me, and it just popped up again. I think Danny might have found it eventually. And I can tell you what I'm seeing and what I think, but if I'm at least sharing the prophecies with you, you may see something I don't see. You may know something I don't know. I don't know much. But what I do know, I can share with you, and we can share with each other, and God can help us through this, because this is requiring much of us. You know, you can't just turn on the news and that's what's happened. That may not be what has happened at all, and you don't even know. It's a frightening place to be. Okay, I have more stuff than I can play. I want to play this again. You've heard it before. You're going to hear it again. It's less than a minute.
But yet Iran shall get an idea, and they shall say, let us blast and destroy the God that they worship, or this the place that they worship. And when they do that, they shall get another idea. let us turn towards the United States of America. Shall we destroy them? Shall we blow them up? But God said, because of my saints and because of the saints of the Most High God, they shall not. For suddenly North Korea shall rise up and they shall begin to get angry with Iran, and there shall be a fight that shall go on between North Korea and Iran. And God said they shall begin to implode from within. Therefore, hear me today from this den. I am speaking, says the Lord. You shall be kept safe because of me, says the Spirit of God.
The trumpet playing, because Trump, the trumpet, is the one dealing with that. And if you remember, you guys remember, when I interviewed Eric Trump last year, what did I tell him? That's what I told him. Watch North Korea with Iran. So that is what I'm going to tell you today. I have told so many people this. I have been mocked years ago when I first posted that. This is many years ago now, maybe 6-7 years ago. I posted that amongst some other prophecies on my YouTube channel. And someone's like, well, that's ridiculous. Why would North Korea have anything to do with Iran? Uh-oh. You know, the North Koreans were over there fighting with the Russians. And they were sending these North Korean soldiers over to fight the Ukrainians. That is an alliance. That's a little bubble. That's the other globalists. We have World Economic Forum, Western globalists with the climate change and all the stuff, open borders. Then there's the other group of globalists. They also want to control the globe. And as bad as these ones are, they'll be worse. Because at least in the West, you can hear the people. We can't hear the people in Russia. Not what they really think. We can't hear the people in China. We've heard the Iranian people, and look at what's happening to them. It's very, very important that we focus on so that we know what's going on, because I feel guilty for not speaking up about Ukraine more.
You just saying that, but also we got to be very vigilant in America, because we're seeing how the socialist and the Communist Party is rising up, and the Democrat Party.
Look at New York.
Just recently, this last week, I think it was 8 or 10 Democrats voted against their own party because they don't like seeing this whole communist socialist rising that's happening. And we're seeing it in different states, New York and all these places, and it's subtly happening. And we got to be very vigilant. Everybody that is watching this, you got to be careful.
Communists and the Islamists.
This will sneak into America, because you're seeing them starting to take places and seats of power. And what's going to happen is they're going to start implementing it in different places in America, and it will spread like a cancer. And we've got to cut it off where we can. Yes. And when I was sitting there, I was just thinking to myself, you see the Muslims praying in the streets. You see all these mosques popping up. You see all these things happening. And I've been asking God, I'm mad, because I'm like, you don't come and change. When they say, oh, you need to have halal and no dogs and no pigs and everything like this.
You try get rid of the dogs in this country.
Well, then the thing is, it's like, if I come to your country, will you do the same for me? Right. Will you allow me to eat my food? No, they will not. So the anger is just like, I want to shout at the top, like, people wake up. But when I was sitting at the back now, I'm thinking to myself, how do we do this? And in my heart, I'm not even going to say, I don't know, it could be God, or it's just my spirit. I just thought, when they're out on the streets praying and facing, Christians should be out on the streets on the other side praying, because they can't stop us. If thousands of Christians jumped on the streets,
Christians are getting arrested for quietly praying in a corner.
No, I know. But the thing is, to combat without
we just
violence,
need to get arrested.
Get arrested. Well, the thing is, Christians have been getting arrested throughout the whole Bible.
Our family knows all about that.
I know. So
we were in apartheid South Africa.
My whole thing is, how do you combat things without being violent? And that's to pray. So if we go out in huge groups and on the street, and on the other side, we just start praying, and it will change. The thing is, but you know what the thing is? We can't be silent.
No.
And we can't individually, because the Bible says, if 2 or more are gathered in my name, I am in the midst of them. So if we are together and we do things, they march on the street. You don't have to be on the same street, but be on another street and have a Christian march.
Counter it.
You don't have to be on the street facing the devil.
Trying to.
Just be, God can do it.
I think we ought to be facing the devil.
Yeah, but I mean, you could be, what I'm saying is to stop violence from happening, let's be on 4 streets over, counteracting the devil.
Or do something.
Be active. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not, you don't have to be violent, but when they pray, we pray. When they start doing their calls to prayer, we do our calls to prayer. When they start demanding things, we start demanding things. Because if we are quiet and silent, we will be wiped out.
Yeah, that is true.
That's what I've been.
Listen, buddy, I've just remembered, because you were talking to me about this when I got here, is the paintings. Can I just...
I'll grab it because I've got it set up on myself.
Oh, do you? Okay.
You want to go to the website?
No. I just need you to go to put my X page back on. My X page back on. Okay, I'll tell you something, guys. Okay, so you guys we have sent out so many of these. It is crazy how many. Last week, I sat just because I'm the one who types fast. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, this painting on the screen next to me, my husband did this for the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. And what he's doing is up until the 4th of July. So the 4th of July is the last day. He is sending a free painting. This is a print on a canvas. And then he will go in and do gold or silver leafing on it, however you want it. But he is giving these to all active military, veterans, police, firefighters, and first responders. So if you fit into that category, you have until the 4th of July. All you have to do is go to the website. There's a message section. So go to the painting you want, and in the message to this painting. So this is the 250th American. You'll see it there. Jesus wrapped in the American flag. That painting. Go in the message section. Just put your rank or what your position is with your address, and my husband will send you one. The way that we have been able to cover the cost of this is that other people who are getting these paintings will give a little extra toward the veterans, so we can bless them leading up to the 4th of July. This will end on the 4th of July. So if you know any active military, veterans, police, firefighters, or first responders, just contact us. Go to the website, petrowashere.com. Now, there's some other beautiful paintings on there. Those of you who have been following this already know. The original Jesus painting that he did last year. It's over a year ago now. The lion, when God showed me the lion, he did the lion. There it is on the screen. Then he did the new Jesus, although they've named it something else on the website, and I can't read it. And then the lion and the lamb. And then he's done this for the 250th anniversary. And I know you guys have been watching the stuff going on there in D.C., the different states with the booths, and then the states that won't go because they're sour. I mean, can you imagine? It is the 250th anniversary. Just who cares who the president is if you don't like them? Let the state be represented. It's really upsetting. Anyway, but you know, my husband started doing these paintings. He did one painting for my sister and her husband because they had moved and they got a new house. And so he did the painting for them. He had seen the images that AI was producing based on the Shroud of Turin. And so that kind of inspired him. Well, I want to do a painting of Jesus. And this is, just what he wanted to do. So he did it that way. And then he decided, because all these people wanted one, he just posted, this is a painting I did for my sister-in-law. And there was such a response that people wanted one because he's really talented. And so that's where it all started. We do this all from our house. It's just our family doing it, and some of my siblings. And Jacqueline and I have done how many gold leafing? I mean, just so much of it. We do it ourselves. So it costs $45 to produce one of these, the printing, the shipping, all of it. That's how much they cost. But the way he's done it is a name your own price. So because he wants as many people as possible to be able to get this, and not everybody can afford it. And so he really, he didn't have a business, and he was trying. He's an artist, and when the door opened, it opened all kinds of things up for him and for us and for all of us here. And so what I do is I actually pray. The other day, as I was doing the postage on them, I was putting the labels on. Oh my goodness, we had so many. We had it was just 80 that one batch that I was doing, and we hadn't gotten that many orders before. We've had a lot of orders. And I just prayed over each and every one. As I was putting the label on, I was praying, saying their name. And so it's just a special and beautiful thing that's happened. And so we are sending a bunch of them out. So those of you who've already ordered, especially our veterans and firefighters, active military, first responders, all you guys, a lot of those have gone out, and more will go out tomorrow on Monday. And the cutoff date for the free 250th painting of Jesus for our active military, veterans, police, firefighters, and first responders ends the 4th of July. So you may not have it by the 4th of July, but you may still want to do this. So if there's a special person in your life, or if you are that person, go to petrowashere.com and go to the 250th anniversary painting and let him know in the message section and submit it, and he will send you one. And to everybody else, if you are not active military, veteran, police, firefighter, or first responder, and you're getting a painting and you're naming your own price, consider giving a little bit extra. Many of you already have done that, and we so appreciate that, because that helps us cover the cost to get these out. And this is something that God has put on my husband's heart to do, especially that this 250th, it's a big deal this time, this anniversary. It's a big deal. So we're trying to get these into as many homes as possible. And so I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that, because we're going to run out of time before I'm here next Sunday. Because the 4th is Saturday. And yay, 4th of July on Saturday. We're so excited. I love 4th of July. It's such a fun holiday. It's summertime and everything. I did have a couple other things I was going to play for you guys. I don't know. Here are some of the things I've planted. This I have not planted, and I want one. I don't know what's going to happen when I click that. Okay, it's just the website you can get them off of. I have not purchased this yet. It's a little more pricey because I need to get it to size. I can't get it little. But it is a mini. It's a little. It's called Blue Diamond. It is a blue. Now, let me tell you something. I figure I knew there were blue spruces, but now I really know. And it is the cutest little tree. I want him. So I'm going to be getting this one at the right time. I need to do it before Christmas, though, because it is going to be so great at Christmas time. I'm putting this garden together, and I'm thinking about all season interests. So not just a bunch of flowers that are going to bloom in spring and then everything just die down. I want to have some evergreen things, and like the pink berries I showed you, the pink berry, coral berry bushes, that's going to have winter interest. So you have, flowers in the spring, you have beautiful foliage in the summer, maybe more blooms in the spring as well. In the summer as well. And then in the fall, either the leaves fall and there's a cool structure, or the leaves turn a lovely color, like the 9 bark is going to go red, and I'm so excited. There's also this, it's a dogwood shrub, and it's called Sergeant Pepper's. Proven Winners does them. The Sergeant Pepper dogwood, if you're looking for some winter interest in your garden, I know we flipped the script here on this show, but I have to share this. It has red branches. So in the spring, it blooms pretty flowers. It's got a lovely foliage in the summertime and the rest of the time. And then in the winter, in the fall, it sheds its leaves. And what's left throughout the winter are these structured branches that just point up, and they are red. Oh, so if you think about colors at Christmas time, you want the red, you want the green. So I'm thinking of this as I'm putting my garden together, and that little blue spruce is the cutest. I just had to tell you guys about it. If you don't have one, you need one. The other one that's really, really cool is, did I post it? I think I did. A weeping blue Colorado spruce. Weeping. I'm like, weeping. Look at this. Lou? Yes, it does. And there's so many weeping plants, but I didn't know. The only thing I knew about was a weeping willow. Apparently they can make anything weep. Lou, I've switched over. Can you help me show them? Well, the other one went to a web page and it showed it.
No, it just showed it. It didn't show it on the video. It showed it there.
Can you not show them that?
Yes, I can.
Now, what's happening with this image, though?
It's showing.
I just picked a random. Who knows? Does anyone know? Let me look in the comments. Who knows about a blue weeping spruce? Colorado. Too hot for blue spruce and southern. Yes, it is. You guys are not in the right zone. I'm in a 7. I'm in zone 7.
There it is.
Sergeant Pepper's Dogwood. Florida Beach Mom.
There's your weeping bush.
There it is. You see it? Isn't that lovely? Now scroll down a little bit so they can see it. Look how nice it is. And each one is unique. You know that?
Really?
They're all unique. So some of them will like flop over. You got to stake them up. But they just weep like that. And it's blue and it stays like that all year long.
It looks like someone in an outfit.
I love it. Buddy, you know where I want to put it? I want to put it where on the right side where the holly tree is, and then there's that azalea bush, and then the dogwood. In the back behind there, it gets a ton of sun, and there's a bunch of space back there. Oh. I'm gonna put it there, and then think of Christmas time, because you know I always put lights around the holly trees. To have the little blue spruce, I can make it a little mini Christmas tree and put presents underneath it. Oh, buddy, I've got to do it.
The plans.
Anyway, this has nothing to do with my dad. Well, maybe it does.
Who knows?
God has told me to do this.
Hey, listen, we've wept a lot.
We've wept.
We have wept.
We've wept.
And we have laughed and we have wept. Before we go, though, I would like everybody to take note of what's happening in South Africa.
Oh, right. We need to talk about this.
I'm just would like.
Do you want to? Do you need to? You
can... No. So I don't know if anybody's looked at the news or looked this up, but right now in South Africa, they are expecting to have riots happening on Tuesday, and I want everybody to just pray.
Yeah.
And everyone on our that's watching right now, that's going to watch later, I will. It's just to pray and understand and pray that God protects people in South Africa. So basically what's happening is that there are a lot of illegal immigrants in South Africa at the moment from Nigeria and from different African countries. And an African group of people in the country don't want them there. So they have gathered all these illegals and put them in camps throughout South Africa and busing them back to their country to get them out. They've even found people that have committed crimes and stuff like that, and they've taken them to jail, but they're busing they's people out. But there's the EFF. I mean, you remember when Trump showed the video of the white farmers that had been
the EFF,
that killed and stuff like that, and they showed all the white crosses. So now this group this political group is saying that they don't just want the illegals out of the country, but they want all white people out of the country and anyone that is not African. And so they're expecting a riot on Tuesday where they've actually asked people, they're sending out messages to people saying, fill up your cars today. Go get food that can last you at least 2 weeks, maybe 3. They're saying if you can get to a safe location, if you can be with family and friends, get a safe house because they're not sure what's going to happen because the threats that are coming out. They've got police are everywhere.
Where's your mother?
She's safe. Her little apartment is around a bunch as a Muslim community around there, and these guys have guns, and they have been standing on the side of the roads protecting their streets. So my mom says I feel very safe.
Oh, good. Okay. Remember when that happened before?
That happened. It happened just after. Yeah, I was in South Africa at the time.
Yes, you were in South Africa. That's right.
My aunt and them, Joy and everybody were saying, we're going to get in the car and we're going to Cape Town. Because Durban was just shut down. People were blocking streets.
Oh, I remember seeing the pictures.
So there's a lot of things coming out, and there's a lot of fear happening right now in South Africa. And anybody that's in South Africa, just know that we are praying for you. Yes, and everybody South here Africa. At the House of Destiny and everyone here on chat right now, I ask you to pray for South Africa, pray for the protection of everybody in South Africa.
Malawi sent buses to bus their citizens back to
Malawi. The buses have been coming in and out. They've been sitting and they've had tents put up.
This isn't actually racism.
It's pure
there is racism there. But it's black on black as well as far as different tribes. And that's the thing about South Africa is that it's not all the same just because someone's the same race.
No.
There are tribes that have been feuding for centuries. They will, if you're speaking the wrong language, if you're listening to the wrong song, if you have the wrong ringtone, they'll kill each other. So there's an ancient tribal thing going on. It's not just black and white racism. It's not actually a race. This is a different thing that's happening there now. But Dad prophesied about South Africa amidst prophesying about Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, and Hezbollah, and all the things he was prophesying. South Africa was there in with those prophecies. And we're from South Africa. So, but I actually just watched, there's a, after the lion thing that happened with me last year, I was watching a lot about lions. Well, I also started watching this guy who has a YouTube channel. He's in Johannesburg and he's raising tigers. And he's got 2 tigers. Diego.
Tigers and lions, right?
No, just tigers. The other guy does.
Yes, that's the guy I work for.
No, not that guy. This guy is just a dude that happens to have 2 tigers and he's able to facilitate them. He lives outside of Johannesburg somewhere, and he's got a lot of land, but it's in a neighborhood. So he's got just like a huge section, and he's built brick walls around him. But he said he was going to have to get chickens for his tigers on Monday because of something happening in South Africa on Tuesday. And that's what alerted me, because he was saying we're going to have to lock ourselves in. But he didn't want to publicly say what was going on. He said, I don't want to talk about why.
People are scared.
Yeah.
People are afraid, and they're telling people, don't leave your homes.
Yeah.
Stay at home. Now, what's happening in Durban, South Africa, is we've got the July, which is it's horse racing. It's a very big thing, and they've got people from overseas coming. So they're trying to clean the streets, trying to make it all look nice, that nothing's happened, and all this because these foreigners are coming. But they're saying, well, good luck, because who knows what's going to happen this week after Tuesday.
We really need to pray.
Kinds of, the amount of police pictures that I've seen, the amount of the amount of police and pictures I see. So please, if you want to look it up online, please go ahead and do it so that you know we're telling the truth. But please pray. Please pray for the protection of South Africans. Please pray for the protection. It doesn't matter if they're Zulu, Xhosa, whatever, Afrikaans, white, it doesn't matter. Please pray for their protection, because everybody is scared. And these groups that are coming out there, they don't care. They will just go. They're not scared of the police. They're not scared of water tanks. No. They're not scared of anything. They've been building up for this for many years. So please pray for many years. It's the same group of people that started at the last time. These are the same group, and it's getting bigger and bigger.
Florida Beach Mom says tribes have been at this for centuries, decades, and then the outsiders, Hezbollah.
Yeah.
Now, Dad was speaking about Hezbollah. Do I have it? I might have. No, I don't. I don't have this one. Thanks, Lou. I don't have it. Don't worry. We're actually out of time anyway. It doesn't matter. There were more prophecies that I had. I always put more than I need because sometimes I don't know which direction things are going to go. But if you want to see, you can go to my X page if you follow me. If you don't follow me, you should. But go to my X page and follow me, and you can see all the stuff I posted today. Very, very interesting. And a lot of this is just to point to the fact that I cannot ignore how many prophecies Dad had about Putin, the fact that he went all the way to Ukraine and put his boots on the ground, that he saw the larger issue in the union between Russia, China, and Iran, and we are now at war with Iran and all the other stuff. So we're just going to keep praying for one another for discernment. Look, this isn't about I'm right, you're right, I'm wrong. It's not about that. I've been wrong about tons of stuff. But I cannot ignore this. And anything you want to share with me, please feel free to do so. You can email me at codebreakers@houseofdestiny.org. Lou, do we have that email address to put on the screen? There it is on the screen. You can email me there. And I will, I'm not very good about responding, but I will take in the information. If I can respond, I will. But do share anything you have. You can also do it on X. You can comment or do it that way. But, if there's anything that you know or that you want to share, I'm here to listen. I don't actually know any. It's not like I've calculated this and I'm super smart. No. I had no idea about any of this stuff. What I do know is my dad has a very good track record, and he was abundantly clear and very loud about Putin, about the deception, about the danger of the union between Russia and Iran. Don't forget about North Korea. Yes, North Koreans were fighting with the Russians against the Ukrainians. And Dad saw that North Korea and Iran would butt their heads together. And I know that that will be an opportunity for the Trump administration. And that is what I told Eric last year because of the prophecies, not because I'm smart, not because I'm super intuitive. No, I have these prophecies. It's foundational. So all these years, we here at the House of Destiny and you guys who are part of this with us know to watch for certain things. And we don't always understand why. We don't know how it's going to play out, but we know that these are the things we need to be aware of. And I think that it's really going to help with being deceived. We need to make sure we're not deceived. That's number one. And I don't want to be deceived, and I don't want you to be deceived. And so if I'm wrong, please tell me. I'm cool with it. Okay. Also, anybody who is giving to support our ministry and our work that we're doing, we love to give back to you guys. We so appreciate you. So if you are giving a gift today, if you want to give an offering, the information is at the bottom of the screen, and there's many ways you can do it. You can text Code Breakers with the amount to 43965. Very easy to do it that way. You can go to our website, houseofdestiny.org. It's all there on the bottom of the screen there. But if you give a donation of any amount, it doesn't matter how much it is, even if it's $1, we want to send this to you. It's called The Daily Light. It's a 31-day devotional, all written by my dad. Very, very beautiful. Also, if you give a donation of $25 or more, we want to send you this. It's Prophetic Revelations, a collection of letters from the pen of Kim Clement. My dad wrote all of this. He was so poetic and so good at writing and so good at explaining the prophetic, to the point that he was able to help people with the School of the Prophets. If you haven't ever been able to watch that or take that course, you can do it by simply partnering with us. So our partners, it's called the Vault Partnership, because we have a prophecy vault in our website, and it has a prophecy database, it's there, not part of the partnership, but in the partner section, it's upgraded so that everything's a little bit easier for you to use. So you can read a transcript of a prophecy, and the video of it is right there for you to just click. Whereas if you're just on the website, we've left that just the way it was when my dad was alive. That prophecy database is still exactly as it was when he died, because he never prophesied again. I did add something to it that I found on a very, very old CD that was not in the database, but it was on a CD, an album Dad released after 9/11 called America on Her Knees. And in that album, he was prophesying about inoculations. Remember the vaccines? And you couldn't even say vaccine. Inoculations is what the word he used. And so that was something he prophesied, and it was on an old CD. And I added that. But we actually have not touched that prophecy database. We haven't had to. Well, obviously, my dad died, and so he wasn't there to prophesy anymore. So it is as he left it. But in the partnership, you have it a little bit upgraded there. There's also a link there so that you can click it and go and watch the entire broadcast, the original broadcast, because those used to be 2.5 hours long. So even when you watch Prophetic Rewind, we've kind of condensed it because we've taken out like announcements and things that aren't part of anything. So if you want to partner with it, there's the School of the Prophets. You also get access to the School of the Prophets. You can take that entire course and learn all about the prophetic from my dad, who was a prophet, and he really enjoyed doing those too. I remember when he was doing that; it was really fun. But it's only $7 or more a month. That's up to you. And we do appreciate all of you who have supported us for years. Because I think you understand, as we do, you don't really have anyone like my dad. Like, of course, there are other prophetic voices, and we understand that. He wasn't the only one. But there was something really that stood out about my dad, and he was extremely accurate. And I think especially America needs this, especially the evangelical Christians, especially the ones who support Israel, have supported Israel with us. And that all happened to my dad in the mid-2000s. He started learning about Israel. God started to show him things, and man, did his prophecies. After that, there was something that happened to his anointing that just exploded, and he just, the way he was prophesying, it went from sort of every once in a while he would see something like 9/11 or a Hurricane Katrina, and then he would do personal ministry to people too. That he would travel and prophesy over people. Incredible things happened. But once the Israel thing happened in him, there was this explosion of what he could see, and it carried him all through the end of his life. And some of you, and you've told me this before in the chat, helped to fund the building of the bomb shelters that Israelis now hide in during all this craziness. And so we really do appreciate your support and your prayers, and we appreciate you coming here, and we thank you so much for sharing these broadcasts and subscribing. Make sure if you're watching on like a YouTube or a Rumble, share these and follow us look for us on social media. You'll find us. But we are done for the day. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see what happens this week, and I'll be back next week, and we will check in and see how it's going. But thank you again so much for joining us. We do love you, and we'll see you next week. Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. We've also enhanced the prophecy database, meticulously updating it with new video content and profound insights. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. As part of your membership, you'll also gain access to my prophecy blog, where I break down and analyze my father's prophecies, connecting them to current events. This blog will provide you with exclusive insights and a deeper understanding of how God's word is unfolding right now. And we're offering something truly special: exclusive analysis sessions available only to members of the Prophecy Vault. These sessions will go beyond the surface, providing in-depth exploration of specific prophecies and their implications for today and the future. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. So, I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.